Hey, you all. It is a rainy day here in the mountains. I had some plans today to travel, to go somewhere, but unfortunately the rain thought better of it. Unfortunately, you know, the weather can be a cruel mistress. You can have all the plans in the world, and a little bit of rain can cancel all those plans. So I figured today, since I'm unable to do my planned event, that I would talk about something that I get asked periodically. I know every once in a while I see a comment in the comment section or in a live stream and people ask, how do you afford to travel? They see me travel. I've been to the 48 continental United States. I've you know, been to Canada some, I've been to Mexico some. I'm always traveling. I'm always in a different state, always in the car. And people rightfully understand that these things are expensive, and then they wonder how I'm able to afford that, able to afford to be in all these places. And I figure I'd kind of explain how my situation works, and I'll take you all the way back to the very beginning, because I think there's like 3 distinct phases here. There's the I can't afford to travel phase, the I can afford to travel phase, and the I can't afford to not travel phase. So I have been obsessed with roadside attractions for quite some time, dating back to the early 2000s. I came across the Roadside America webpage, and I still use Roadside America to help locate attractions, locate roadside attractions that I like to visit. So, and if you haven't been to the page, please check it out. It's basically a listing of roadside attractions, of, you know, and it's different roadside attractions, you know, fiberglass statues, quirky museums, you know, roadside alligator wrestling, just every sort of like roadside attraction you can imagine. And I started looking through this and I was fascinated. I love this stuff. I didn't know how much I love this stuff until I found Roadside America. Unfortunately, I was very broke. I could not afford to travel almost at all. And I think my traveling begun just trying to see stuff locally. Now, again, I did not have any money. You know, my hobby was photography, film photography. So I love taking pictures. So I figured my newfound love of these roadside attractions, I would, you know, do photography, take pictures of these attractions that I loved. So a lot of times it would be, you know, just how far, you know, can I drive a few hours? Can I see, kind of look what's around me? If for whatever reason we're traveling somewhere else, like if I was going to visit family, if I was going up to Indiana to visit my mom, or going up to Wisconsin to visit my dad, I'd figure out if there was, you know, some cool stuff, roadside attractions that I could see, that I could photograph in those areas. And this went on for quite some time. I think it's very important that I say, like, this YouTube channel, which this is all leading up to the creation of this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel was not created for the purpose of making money. I did not know you could make money on YouTube. I didn't know you could really make money on the internet. And like I said, way before the YouTube channel started, I was into photography. I posted my photos on a website called Flickr, which is technically still there. It used to be a great website, used to be a great, very positive community that I was part of. And I know a few of my friends from Flickr still watch these videos, which amazes me to this day. But I would post, you know, photos on Flickr. There was no way to make money on Flickr. You actually had to pay. You had to pay, like, I think it was a $10 yearly fee, you know, for the storage to put your pictures up there. But it was just a community. You posted pictures, you shared them, you know, people commented on them. It was great. And this was kind of before, like, you know, Facebook and things like that took off. It was before Instagram. kind of a precursor to Instagram in some ways. And yeah, it was a really great environment. From there, I kind of decided I wanted kind of a different way to display my photos. So I started like a blog with a B on, there's a website, I think it's called Blogger, that kind of had like easy design photo blogs. So I, would share my photos on there. I would start to make just a little tiny bit of money off that website, because you could, that's when I was made familiar with AdSense. Now AdSense is, they run ads on your web page. On like, the top, there'll be like a banner that has an advertisement, and you get paid for however many people. Now my blog was never very popular. I think I would make about $10 a year, if I remember correctly, from ads on my blog, which was good because it was $10 a year to pay to register the domain name, which was thecarpetbagger.org. So it paid, the ads were pretty much enough to pay, enough to break even, where I wasn't spending money on the web page. I was, however, having to pay out of pocket for travel expenses, things like that. And traveling was rough. Traveling was rough because still, like, it was a matter of just trying to see stuff that was close. And then I kind of like see everything that was close, and I want to go a little bit further. So I'd get in my car, I'd drive. I tell the story about how I drove 4 hours to see Cocaine Bear. That's a little later. That's when I was doing videos. But yeah, I would drove 4 hours to see Cocaine Bear, turn around and drive all the way back because I could not afford to spend the night at a hotel room. Hotel room, that was just out of the question. Spending that much in order to travel. And again, this was a passion. This wasn't a money-making attempt at any way. And when I got my real job, when I got my job working Child Protective Services, I would start traveling a little more. We would start taking vacations. I remember my my first real trip that I took after getting my real job was we did an overnight trip. We got a hotel and we took an overnight trip to Natural Bridge, Virginia, where I wanted to see some of Mark Klein's attractions, the Professor Klein's Monster Museum, Dinosaur Kingdom 2. Also Foamhenge was out there, Natural Bridge at the time. So I had a great time going out there and seeing this stuff. We saved for months to do this overnight trip, just putting a little bit of money aside, because I just gotten this new job. Still was way in debt from from going to college, from just being broke for so many years. I had credit card debt, all the stuff that I got behind on, all these bills. So trying to catch up on bills, trying to put a little bit of money away so we could travel. And yeah, and so that's what I would do. I just try to find an opportunity to sneak away, to drive, see how far I could drive. If I get up at like 6 in the morning, I could try to drive out, see as many things as I could, and try to make it back in time to sleep in my own bed. Now, yeah, so then when I had my, so we were still in the I can't afford to travel phase. Now, once I had my established job, when I worked for CPS, I was able to actually travel a little bit, actually able to go on road trips. Now, my wife at the time, Christy, was not a big fan of roadside attractions. She didn't like the wacky stuff. As she told me once, she wasn't into that ball of twine BS. But we would, one thing we did like, we were fans of Disney. So we would take family trips to Disney. I would sneak away sometimes to film some of the Florida roadside attractions. Because that was exciting to me. I love the roadside attractions. you know, she really wasn't into that. So I kind of had to do that on my own. And I really made traveling a priority. Like, I didn't buy new clothes. I bought my clothes at thrift shops. You know, I didn't buy expensive things. You know, we had like a really small TV. Like, we had a TV like that big when everyone else was getting the big flat screens, because traveling was important to us. You know, my wife Christy, she, you know, even though she didn't like roadside attractions, she loved to travel. She liked to go to the beach, and we would, you know, and we'd make it a priority. This is how we would spend our money. And you know, from there, kind of at some point in there, I would begin the YouTube channel. The blog with a B wasn't really setting the world on fire. So I made the decision to, you know, after meeting my friend Adam the Woo and kind of seeing how he made YouTube videos, I kind of adopted that into YouTube. But still, I want to be clear on this. The YouTube was not an attempt to make money. It was, you know, I liked getting, you know, I liked expressing myself. I like expressing my photos, my video. I liked getting out there. I remember the first time I ever realized you could make money on YouTube. I was watching this documentary about, I think it was called Me at the Zoo. It was about the Leave Britney Alone guy, and it was a documentary on his life, and it said that he got a check every month from his YouTube videos. I was like, wait a minute, you get paid for YouTube videos? And then, yeah, that was actually before I met Adam. I met Adam shortly after that, and you know, he was living kind of a wanderer's lifestyle, living in his van. Of course, I couldn't do that. You know, I had a family at the time. I didn't have the option to live in a van. May have done it if I did not have a wife and kids at the time. But I kind of tried to do my own thing. I would, you know, make time to go on little road trips, to go and see things. I went on a big road trip, or this was one of my first like solo road trips, where I went by myself. That was like a multi-day road trip. I drove to, I wanted to drive out west because I haven't been out west at all. So I drove, and one day I drove and I went to Hillbilly Gardens in Kentucky. I met my friend Keith Holt there. He is a Wonderland. He has a collection of toys as well as a pun-based garden of hillbilly attractions. Met Keith Holt that night, drove out. I'm trying to think all the things I did this one night. Drove out there, drove to St. Louis, did the Arch, did the City Museum, which is apparently open really late that night. Did the St. Louis Wax Museum. This is all one day. So because of I was just trying to cram all this stuff into one day. And part of this is that, you know, when I was traveling, when I was using this money to travel, I had to cram in as much stuff as possible. I couldn't afford downtime. I couldn't afford do one thing one day, one thing the next day, because money's burning. Staying in hotels is expensive. And, you know, at this point, I was starting to make a little bit of money on YouTube. Probably at that point during this road trip, not enough to really pay for the road trip, but it was helping subsidize my road trips, so I could afford to travel a little more because I was making a little money on YouTube. I think at the time I may have been making about $30 a month on YouTube, and at the time, I don't know what it is now, but at the time you had to make $100 before you get paid out. So I can only get paid out like every 4 months. We could get that $100 from YouTube. And I'm trying to remember this all correctly. I may be botching some details there, but did that crazy one day. That's so crazy. And that's how I used to operate. I would try to film as many things in one day as possible. There was the one time I went to Branson, Missouri, I filmed 7 videos in one day. That's like unfathomable now, but it was just like, go to this attraction, go to the next attraction, film, film, film. And at some point, it did get to the break-even point, and I realized that I could travel, I could pay for my gas, I could pay for my hotel room. I wasn't bringing home any money. I wasn't adding any money to my income, but I was paying for my travels. And I just remember, I felt like I'd won. I felt like I'd won at life because I could see all these things I wanted to see. I could travel to all these places I wanted to go, and it was covered. It was complimentary in a way. I of course had time at the time, put the time and effort in, but I could pay for my travels. And I mentioned AdSense earlier, where they ran banners on my website. That kind of translated over to YouTube. Now, when you watch YouTube, they play ads during the videos. A percentage of that goes to YouTube itself. The other percentage goes to the creator, which is really like a really cool system. Like, you got to give YouTube a lot of credit for creating that. It led to people able to afford to make content for YouTube, and it certainly affected my life in a very, very positive way. And so yeah, we're in the break-even point, and so I'm just, with my free time, I'm able to travel. I get a very fortunate new job position at work. I worked CPS. I investigated abuse and neglected children. I was able to get a position on the on-call position. So basically, that is, I work, from when the agency closes at 5 until 8 o'clock the next morning. I don't work that whole time, but I'm on call. If there's an emergency, I go out on it. If there's a child abuse, neglect that happens outside of store hours, I'm the one that goes out there, and I'm the one that deals with that. And that's a hard job. That was some long, crazy nights. Some very dark and disturbing stories from that time period. But the advantage to that was my schedule. I worked 7 days in a row. I worked from 5 to 8 in the morning during the week. On the weekends, I worked 24 hours. And again, I'm not literally working 24 hours, but anytime something happens, I'm going out there. I have a cell phone or a pager. At any second, anything could happen. So I'm kind of waiting. It's not like I can't travel during this time, obviously, because I have to be in town waiting for things to happen. But the schedule is, I work 7 days on. So I'm responsible for 7 days in a row. Then the next 7 days, I am off. I am off for a full 7 days in a row. So this is long enough for me to do a significant road trip. I have these 7 days of free time. I can leave and be back, and pretty much anywhere on the East Coast I can go for a couple of days. And this really was a major jump start to my channel. Like, I was able to travel. I was able to put in these hard works. Obviously, this is a lot of my time. I'm pretty much working nonstop those 7 days. The 7 days that I'm off, I'm pretty much gone from home. So, my whole life is work. My whole life is either working at CPS or working on this channel. And again, at this point, I say I'm getting past the break-even point. I'm making a little bit of money. A little bit. And this is from ads. Also, it is from Patreon. I started a Patreon page amongst this all, and and I'm still running my Patreon page to this day. But the idea is, people that view the channel can give contributions. The way I kind of show my gratitude for those contributions is I send out postcards every month to those Patreon subscribers. It started out slow. I remember I used to get like maybe 12. I had like maybe 12 Patreons in a month. I go pick out individual postcards. It was a lot of fun. Hand wrote them, and it grew from there. And you know, then like I said, working full-time at 2 jobs essentially. One that's only kind of paying me, and I've gotten to this before, but if you put yourself out there in public on YouTube, there's going to be people who wish ill upon you. Now, I don't know, I can't speak for the motivation of why people wanted to harass me, wanted to harass my family. Started getting things like having my home address put on the internet. You know, also just people just being insulting, saying mean things about me, you know, talking about, a lot of it's my physical appearance, a lot of it's I'm fat, I look like a jack-o'-lantern. Some of it was a little rougher, you know, where there people are writing letters to my 12-year-old daughter. People are saying things about my family. That was really rough. And for whatever reason, people decided to start calling my work and just causing problems, sending letters to my work. Pretty much unprovoked. I still to this day don't understand why people wanted to see me. I mean, there's a theory I have, and I'm just throwing this out there. I think some people didn't think that, like, I deserved to be able to travel. I don't think a lot of people saw the hard work that I'd put in to building this channel, and just thought that somehow I was lazy, somehow that I was just going on vacation and trying to make that my job. Like I said, there's a lot of hard work. I respect for anyone on YouTube. You know, so much work goes on behind the scenes than you really see. And I'm not gonna sit here and complain about my job, because I love my job and my job means the world to me. But, you know, I think people see me having fun, people see me going to all these places and think that that's all there is to it. And I think maybe some jealousy comes from that. Again, I can't speak for people, I can't get inside their minds, but, you know, a very small, and I want to emphasize, this is a small group of people that really just did not like me and did not want to see me succeed. They wanted to see me fail. So they started harassing me at work. I got very little support at work. They didn't want to deal with it. They wanted me, and they told me that I had to stop making YouTube videos. Now at this point, I'd put so much time, so much effort, so much of myself into these videos. I knew I couldn't. I knew that I could not stop making YouTube videos. I was not making enough money for this to be my job at that point. So I figured I couldn't stick with a job that couldn't stick with me. I felt like I was being harassed. I felt like I worked for the Haywood County Department of Social Services. I felt like, as an agency, they're there to support people. They're there to help people that are being abused, to help people that are being harassed. And I feel like they did not live up to their commitment. You know, I was proud of the 10 years of work I did there. I was proud of the work I did, and I was proud of the people I worked with. But by the end, by the way they acted, I was ashamed. I was ashamed that I worked for an agency that wouldn't stand by someone who was having their family, their children harassed, and their answer was that I had to stop doing what I was doing. I try not to hold on to anger, because anger is toxic, but I do remember that you know, the people there were incredibly unsupportive and pretty much stood by and blamed me for the harassment that I received. So hopefully things have changed there. There's some good people that work there. I'm not just calling out everyone there, because there were some really good people that really believed in what they stood for. And I just hope for the sake of the children in this county, for the sake of the people abused in this county, that that things are better there now than they were when I was there. Because I said I was proud of what I did, but I was ashamed of the agency the day I left. But anyways, moving on. So I had to make a decision, and I made the decision. Once I was told that I had to quit making videos, the decision was made. I wasn't going to be there anymore. I was thinking, you know, maybe get another job in social services, doing something else that would allow me to keep doing my YouTube. Even if I had to do my YouTube on a smaller level, I just wasn't willing to give it up. I called my wife at the time, Christy, kind of explained this to me. And, you know, I talked with her. And, you know, since I knew I was going to leave, I figured if there was, you know, after some thinking about it, I'm like, if there was ever a time where I'm just gonna try to put everything I have into this and see what happens, this is the time. So I talked to Christy. I said, how about this? Give me 1 month. 1 month to put everything I have. Oh, no, it was 3 months. It was 3 months. Give me 3 months to put everything I have into this channel. And at the end of that, if I am not making enough for this to be a real job, then I will go and seek employment elsewhere. I went home. I was still wearing my social worker button-up shirt, and I posted a video about what had happened. And people, I made that, I went to bed, and you guys came through for me. The amount of people supporting me on Patreon had more than doubled. The video itself had gotten a remarkable amount of views. And I set out on a cross-country trip, drove out to California and back. It's kind of a kickoff to this being my job, and honestly, I haven't looked back since. Within just a few weeks, it became apparent that I would at least be able to pay my bills, that I would be making enough money where this is a job. And so now we're moving into the third phase of things, and that is I can't afford to not travel. So this is how I make my money now. A combination of, you know, I get the ads from YouTube, I get the contributions from Patreon, and well as other things. I started selling enamel pins along the way. I do the messages on Cameo now. All those are ways that I turn this into a job. So this is, with all those things listed, this is my sole source of income. I'm able to make a living for myself here on YouTube. And it involves a lot of traveling. You guys see that, it involves a lot of traveling. I am away a lot. And let me just say this. Someone once said, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That person was lying. That's not true. When you work for yourself, you are always at work. You're always thinking of the next thing. You're always thinking, how can I do better? What can I do more? How can I do more? You know, and that's out of a trap you fall into. You know, and you know, when I say that, I am taking full responsibility that's me. That's me saying these things. Like, it's possible to cut down trips. It's possible to make things work at a smaller scale, but it's very hard for me. I'm very laser focused. You know, part of my autism is that yeah, I'm laser focused on this work, on what I do, and you know, I always want to travel more. I always want to see more things. I always want to put more into this channel, and it's a lot of work, and it's very hard work. I feel like this is the hardest job I've ever. Well, I don't know if hardest is the best to say. It's different. I would say maybe CPS is harder, and that it was more emotionally taxing, more stressful on me. With this job, it's just, I'm always putting everything I have into it because I care so much. I cared so much when I did CPS, But, you know, this job, it is me. It is a projection of myself, and I'm always thinking about it. I can never put it down. I'm always thinking, how can I do more? What can I do? What can I come up with that's interesting for people, that people will enjoy watching? So, you know, and I think anyone that works for themselves, no matter what you do, I think you can relate to that you're always pushing yourself. Now, I could always, you know, and again, I'm not complaining, because at any point I could quit this. I could go back into social work. I could try something else. I could explore other career paths. But the truth is, I don't want to. I love what I do. I love traveling. And at this point, doing anything else just seems like it would be really, really strange. Like, this is so much of who I am now. And of course, there's no guarantees. You know, YouTube could be gone someday. MySpace is gone. YouTube could be gone. You know, things change. The world changes. You know, TikTok is popular now. TikTok's probably more popular than YouTube at this point. I don't really know how to do TikTok. I don't really have a desire to do TikTok. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. All I know is that I'm gonna ride this train until the wheels fall off. I'm gonna ride this boat until the sail falls off. I'm gonna ride this dirigible until it explodes in a fiery, all-consuming inferno of death. But I'm gonna do my best to have a good time while all that is happening, and then maybe someday I'll do something else, and who knows. Right now, I guess just focus on the present. So I hope that answers, you know, this question of like, how do I afford to travel? If I wasn't filming, you know, I couldn't afford to travel. So in order to facilitate my traveling, I have to film, and I have to film, and I have to travel. Otherwise, you know, my bills don't get paid. I have a mortgage. I have children in college. So yeah, it's a job, but it's, you know, in some ways it's a lifestyle. And, you know, it's a lifestyle I signed up for, and it's a lifestyle that I live. So hopefully that brings some understanding to how I got here, what I'm doing, and kind of how this all works, how this all comes together. Because yeah, I understand it can be confusing, like how one person is able to be all over the country and see all these things. It's just a matter of the right circumstances falling into the right places, and me being willing to run with it. And like, if I have advice for people that want to make money on YouTube, I don't know. Part of me says, if you're going to YouTube and your plan is to make money, that you may not be successful. I think some people have. Some people saw it as a job, an opportunity. I don't have enough business acumen to have ever done that. I think if I'd have gone into YouTube thinking I was going to make money, not only would I have quit a long time ago, but I think I would have been unsuccessful. I think if you want to make YouTube, if you want to make social media, you want to make content, just be very passionate about it. Just do something you would do for free, because you're probably going to have to do it for free. It was years, you know, I'm talking about this as a time frame, but like, you know, there was at least 5 years from the start of my YouTube channel before it became my job. And you know, the majority of those 5 years, there was no actual income coming in. So there's 5 years where I was not making enough for this to be a job. A portion of that, I was losing money. A portion of that, I was bringing in a tiny amount. But that 5-year mark, it was 2018, January 2018, that I went full time. And so out of my my 10-year YouTube career, it's been my job for 5 years. If you go way back to like the very beginnings where I'm doing my blog, doing my photos, like you could add another 5-10 years onto that of not making money. So, you know, that's my advice. Go into YouTube for other reasons besides wanting to make money. And I think, you know, you just might catch on. you might not. There's no guarantees. Like I said, all these circumstances fell into the right places at the right time with me. I'm still mystified. I still don't really know how I did it. I look at YouTube, I look out on YouTube, I see people that I consider to be more talented than me, that that struggle more to get views than me. I see channels that are better edited, better shot. I see channels with better looking creators, and I don't know why I got lucky and they didn't. I guess it's just a combination of things, but there's no guarantees. But the fun thing about YouTube is that, you know, there's very little parameters on what you can do. You have to be family friendly. You have to, well, you don't have to be family friendly, but you have to follow the content rules. But other than that, you're open to create, you're open to make whatever you want. But do it because you love it, you know. If 5 people see it and they love it, if 10 people see it, and that blew me away when people started commenting. Get 5 comments, 10 comments on a video. It blew me away. People are watching this. People care about this. I used to respond to every single comment, and I would thank them for watching these videos. I can't do that anymore. There's too many comments. I try to read them all, but if I responded to every comment, I wouldn't have time to make videos. So that's kind of sad in a way. You know, sometimes you lose that tight-knit community that you had when you first started. But it's been a wild ride. It continues to be a wild ride, and I have every intention on continuing it until I can't. You know, something could always happen. My health could go bad. I could break an ankle. You know, the money on YouTube could just completely dry up. So try to enjoy it while I can. Try to enjoy this ride while I can, and I hope that you guys are enjoying it right along with me. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was informative to some of you. And if not, you know, some of you, these videos where it's more talking than showing, you know, if you guys aren't interested in them, feel free to skip by. I will be traveling very soon here. I just kind of had to take a break because of the rainy day here. But yeah, stay tuned, and until next time, this one's in the bag.